Oh, shit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official Managing Success YouTube channel. And today we have quite a special video for you guys. Today we're going to be going over my top 5 personal favorite pieces of kit in my collection, whether that be old military surplus or just general pieces of kit that I have. And we're going to be briefly going over them and the reasons why they are my personal favorites. Now the reason why I want to make this video is because I think it's kind of important to kind of highlight some of my favorite pieces, whether I've already made a video on it or I have yet to make a video on it. I still like to flex a little bit and kind of show off some of the cool and unique pieces of kit that I have. So with that being said, let's not waste too much time and get right into the video. Now, before we get too deep into the weeds of the top 5 pieces of kit in my collection, I do want to go ahead and shout out a couple of honorable mentions that I have within my collection, starting out with the USGI 6 magazine bandolier. Now, the reason why this is an honorable mention is because this is one of the first pieces of kit that I ever made a video on. It was the how to make a $15 micro chest rig video. You go ahead and check it out right here. And from that video, this bandolier also functions as a very rudimentary compared to one's chest rig, so that is also very, very cool. So that is why it makes the honorable mentions list. Now the reason why I didn't make the top 5 is because it's still just a 6 magazine bandolier. Pretty much all it does is holds magazines. It can hold other things too, piece of kit in terms of, it is still very limited in terms of what it can accomplish. So with that being said, that is the USGI 6 magazine bandolier. Still a very special piece of kit in my heart. Now, coming to you all the way from the great nation of Turkey, we have the Turkish Air Force assault vest. Now, this is still a very special piece of kit to me. I hold a very, Now, this piece of kit is very special to me because it was one of the first things that kind of truly kickstarted this channel, and it kickstarted my love for collecting military surplus. So for that reason, it is very special to me. I also did make a video on this. It's also one of the first videos I did as well, so you can go ahead and check it out on my channel. Again, I'll leave cards and links to all the videos of pieces of kit that I talk about, at least the ones that I made a video on. I'll leave the links to those in the description below. But this is still a fairly unique piece of kit. I don't really have much Turkish surplus. This is pretty much it. I've been wanting to get my hands on the actual uniform, but it's been kind of hard to source. Nevertheless, the reason why I didn't make the top 5 is, like bandolier, it's still fairly limited to what you can actually do with this piece of kit, but nevertheless, it's still a very fun, unique, and drippy piece of kit in my collection. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into top 5. So, yes, I am wearing British DPM. I know I was wearing British BTP. You have caught me at a very British time in my life, I should say. But anyways, starting off number 5, we have the reproduction of the Faraday & Sons Rhodesian chest rig, or more affectionately referred to as the Rhodey rig. Now, the reason why this is number 5 is, first of all, I just think it's a very, aesthetic piece of kit, especially since I'm a big fan of learning about certain African conflicts, the Bush War being one of them. That's not really the topic of this video. This is one of the first pieces of, this is actually the first piece of any kit that I ever had, so it holds a very, very, very special place in my heart because of that. Now, in terms of functionality, it's pretty bare bones, much like the 6 magazine bandolier and the Turkish Air Force assault vest. It's pretty limited as to what you can do with them. It has a spot for 4 magazines that fit FAL magazines. I sadly don't own an FAL. It does work with 20-round AR mags though, so you can kind of double stack those, but it's still fairly useful. But other than that, you can't really use a whole lot of mags other than FAL or 308 style mags. So it's a bit sad. But the reason why it is number 5 is not because of functionality, is because purely it holds a special place in my heart as it kickstarted my whole love for collecting military surplus, military reproductions, all that fun stuff that I love to ramble on and on about to random strangers throughout my life. So that is number 5. Let's go ahead and move on to number 4. All right, now number 4 on the list, we have the Condor Sentry plate carrier. Now the reason why it's number 4 is because I've never really been a big fan of plate carriers, at least these like slick plate carriers. I always thought them to be kind of just, you know, overrated and kind of, I hate to use this word, but kind of hype-beasty. And overall, just kind of like a gimmick, but not like in the FUD sense. It's just that they seem more like an aesthetic piece than more of a functional piece of kit. Now, with that being said, I still really do like this plate carrier. I still think it's a very functional plate carrier. Right now, I just have a triple mag pouch on here, and I got like a thing to hold my phone, and I got a sustainment pouch on the back. Currently, no place in here right now because this has been sitting in my closet for the past 2 or 3 years, just collecting dust. I haven't really done anything with it until very recently. I do have a plan to actually, you know, kind of kit it out and get it to where I can kind of use it as a practical piece of kit and not just something that I just show off on the internet for clicks and whatnot. So that is why it's number 4 on this list, is because I've never been the biggest fan of plate carriers personally, but I still do see their use, obviously, because being able to stop a bullet is pretty important, to say the least. With that being said, let's move on to number 3. This is where it started to get a little bit more tricky for me because these 3 pieces of kit I really do like, and it was kind of hard to figure out which one I wanted to put at number 1. So let's go ahead and get into the final 3. Shit, sorry, I thought you were trying to steal my coffee or something. But now that I have your attention, are you subscribed to the official Managing Success YouTube channel? No? Well, are you gonna subscribe? Are you? Are you gonna subscribe? Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue on with the video, go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to the official Managing Success YouTube channel in order to ensure your success in life. Now, with that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video while you're procrastinating on your final exam. Now, coming in at number 3, we have the 84 Bandolier from Commando Store. Now, this is one of my more recent acquisitions that I've made. Also, I made a video on this last week, so again, go ahead and check it out. Great video. I had a lot of fun making that video, and it is also quite informative. But that's not the point of this video. The reason why this is number 3 is because for such a small package, it's actually a really average sized package. Some would say that it's quite large, actually quite huge, but for the size, it can do quite a bit. It's not about the size, it's about how you use it, so they say.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But yes, this can hold up to 8 magazines, both steel mags and P-mags. It does prefer steel mags or Stanags, depending on what terminology you use, but it can run both fine. You put a tourniquet, these little elastic loops here, or radio. This also functions as a tactical white monster carrier too. As you know me, I love my caffeine, so it is the unit of measurement that I use when I make my tactical gear purchases. So that is the reason why the 84 Bandolier is number 3, and especially for being such a recent acquisition and it being this high on the list, that speaks to the volumes of how useful this piece of gear really is, and I would highly recommend that you get yourself one as well. But with that being said, let's move on to the final 2. This is where it gets really hard for me. Ramirez, Last Magazine, Make It Count. Now, for our number 2 spot, we have the beloved FLC, or as it's more affectionately known as, the Flick. Now, the reason why this is my number 2 pick is, first and foremost, this rig is highly customizable. I made a whole video going over the FLC. I've actually made 2 whole videos going over the FLC, so go ahead and check those out. So I'm not going to dive too much into some of the reasons why, but I am going to provide you with context, because context is very important. So it is highly customizable due to all the pellets webbing going up and down the vest, and it allows you to configure your vest to suit your needs. So that is the biggest reason why the FLC ranks so high on my list. Also, it is a vibe, as you can see, drippy as hell. UCP, not the most functional, so I'd recommend dyeing your UCP ones, but they also made several other variants of the FLC as well. You got your M81, DCU, Coyote Brown, and OCP. So if you don't want the ACU ones, you still have plenty of options to choose from. Now, for all the love that I give the FLC, I did have to put it at number 2. You might be wondering, why, Mr. Managing Successor, did you put the FLC at number 2 and not at number 1? Well, we will be getting right into that. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further introduction, the number 1 spot in my top 5 personal favorite pieces of kit in my collection, hands down, goes to the Pattern 83 chest rig from South Africa. Now, some of the reasons as to why it's number 1 over the FLC is not due to functionality, like just kind of comparing those two in terms of functionality. The FLC blows the Pattern 83 out of the water, in my personal opinion. However, there are a few things to keep in mind when talking about this rig. First and foremost, this is kind of my go-to for just kind of my basic rifleman kit. I made a video on that, feel free to check it out. I've said it a million times. Videos that I mentioned will be linked in the description of this video. So, with that being said, this has kind of been my go-to rig ever since I got it. It wasn't cheap. It cost me about $120. I got the serviceable one on the Commando Store's website. At time of recording, I don't think they have these in stock anymore. I think they've been sold out for quite a while, but they do have reproduction Pattern 83 rigs. So if you want to see me compare reproduction to the original, make sure to like and subscribe. I can make that happen. Now, the biggest reason as to why I chose the Pattern 83 chest rig as my number 1 would be due to the fact of its collectability. Due to things that I had know little to nothing about going on in the world, South African surplus has become pretty hard to source, which was making it highly collectible and pretty damn expensive. Now, like I said, I got mine serviceable, which means I paid a little bit less than what you would pay for a newer piece. I got mine for a little bit less than what you pay for a newer chest rig. So again, these have become highly sought after, and I'm proud to say that I have one in my collection, and it is a pretty big flex to kind of show off to people. Because not a lot of people can say that they have a Pattern 83 chest rig. Maybe I'm wrong though. Feel free to let me know in the comments, but at least in my friend group, I can be like, yo, check this out. I got this pretty obscure rig. So it's kind of a flex, not gonna lie. But that is those are some of the reasons as to why I rank Pattern 83 as my number 1 pick. Now, if you disagree with that, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. So with that being said, this concludes my top 5 list. Again, if you have any opinions, feel free to voice them in the comments down below. I love reading the comments when I'm procrastinating on my tasks. Mostly homework, but finals has come to an end, so it's just kind of whenever I get a chance to, which is whatever. Anyways, with that being said, hope you all liked the video. Make sure you like and subscribe with this post notifications on in order to ensure your success in life. Because if you're not successful, then you just suck. Sucking is bad, and I don't want you guys to suck. So, hope you all have a good night.